Hello everyone, welcome to this last session of week 11 for this course Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. In this week we had been discussing about various metrics associated with web as well as social media. As far as today's session is concerned, we will be more concentrating on the various metrics associated with social media and mobile metrics. So all of us are aware about the fact that in today's market, any kind of product that we want to introduce into our target segment, all the consumers, most of them are have a presence in the social media, and a significant portion of the market is also holding a mobile phone. So that is why it has become extremely important to use social media and mobile devices as a vehicle for marketing. And to do it effectively, we need to understand the various metrics that has been designed for understanding the marketing context in social media as well as in the mobile devices. So today's session will be concentrated in and around these metrics associated with social media as well as mobile devices. So let's dive more into the basic understanding of social media metrics. Social media metrics are used to determine the effectiveness of a social networking presence. So basically individuals as well as organizations have a social media presence, and the organizations try to attract more and more people in the social media. They want to try to make a loyal customer base, right? So that is why they need to connect with the individual customers belonging to the target segment. They want to engage with them in any kind of form. It can be just an information, it can be an education, it can be a persuasion, it can be an advertisement, it can be just a comment and like. So all these things are called, all these kind of things are called engagement. More engagement you have with your target set of consumers, more trust they will bestow on your organization or on your brand. Social networking sites can help the firms develop relationship and identify the committed customers. Nowadays many organizations has gone to the extent that they have a social media presence, and many of the customers complain, many of the post purchase services are committed, are performed within the periphery of the social media. So this is the power of social media in today's market context. Now let us look at the very simplistic metrics associated with the social media marketing. So all of us have a basic understanding about this terminologies, but we will try to purely understand what it means in the context of marketing. Let us look at the terminologies such as friends, followers, supporters. They are basically a very simple kind of metrics that measures the number of individuals who join an organization's social network, right? When it comes to friends, who is a friend? Basically the number of friends of the entity registered on a social network. The entity can be a page, the entity can be an individual profile, right? So for example, I may have 3000 friends in my Facebook profile. Similarly, one page belonging to Nika might have 1 million followers in the Facebook profile. So this is called friends, people who are connected to you and with an intention to getting engaged with your conversation in the social media platform. A high number of friends signifies an active interest in the owner of the page. If a brand has high number of friends, this indicates a stronger brand with a loyal customer base. This particular concept can be extended to, let's say, a political figure, a politician, a businessman. So it can be extended to any kind of entity, which can be an organization, which can be an enterprise, which can be an individual, which can be an art performer, which can be an actor. Similarly, there is another concept called like. So it is a very common terminology in today's world when it comes to the social media spaces. Like is simple metric that measures the number of individuals who have favored a particular content, who has favored a post, a page, an organization using the common button called a like button. By definition, like equal to number of individuals favoring a social networking post or a page. Fine. Now let us try to have an understanding about the cost associated with the social media presence. Nothing comes free in this world, though apparently it might look like a free thing, right? For example, maintaining a page in the Facebook or maintaining a page in the Instagram, it comes with a cost. Somebody has to get engaged with it, somebody has to spend time on it, somebody has to share the information regarding your enterprise, regarding your entity on the social media. So everything has a cost. The cost can be apparently visible, or sometimes it may not be apparently visible. Let us look at a metric called a cost per friend. Sometimes it is also referred to as cost per fan. So it is nothing but the total cost to provide social networking presence divided by the number of friends. So the cost might come in the form of, let's say you are a premium account holder. So monthly charge that you are paying to the social networking site, or your account is being handled by a person which you are paying a salary. So what portion of the salary can be attributed to handling of this social media account. So that becomes a part of your cost. So basically there are various ways through which the costing will be done. But as far as this matrix of cost per friend is associated, then it is the total cost to provide the social networking presence divided by the total number of friends that you have in the social networking site. Similarly, we can have similar kind of metric from the dimension of likes, and this is called cost per like. Total cost to provide the social networking presence divided by the number of likes. Let's say I am investing 10,000 rupees to boost a social media post. Now, how many likes I am getting out of this social media post? So, the total cost divided by that number can be my cost per like in this particular context. So, now let's have a look at this formula. It's very simple as per the definition that is given just now. So, cost per friend or cost per like, the cost to the organization per friend recruited or the per like generated. So, one thing that we have to keep in mind when calculating this matrix such as cost per friend or cost per like, that direct platform cost may be very low. For example, you may have to spend just few hundreds or few thousands to maintain a premium account in the social media platform, but the total cost is very high or significant, because there will be somebody who will design a lot of content to be posted in the social media, and you have to pay that designer as a salary or as a contract. Similarly, there will be somebody who will be handling your page, so you have to pay that agency or pay that individual as a salary. So if the cost might come in the form of a design, in the form of staff time, and in the form of strategy that is required to effectively manage the social media platform. Fine. Now let us move to understand some of the important metrics associated with the mobile devices. This is important because significant portion of the consumers base today use the smart mobile devices. Most of their work is done through mobile devices, be it a let's say engagement with a e-commerce site, or be it looking into various information, be it looking into various products in social media. Even the purchases happens in the mobile devices itself. Mobile metrics may be classified into metrics that are similar to the website metrics and other metrics that focus on the apps. Now, one important metric associated with this mobile device or application based dimension becomes average revenue per user. So, what is it basically? It is the total revenue that is generated from the apps divided by the number of users. Some of might have a, let's say, VIP account, some of the users may have a free account, some of may have a pro account, some of may have a something else. So, the monthly subscription rate for different categories of customers will be different. So, basically the average revenue per user is nothing but the total revenue collected from all categories of users divided by total number of profiles or total number of subscribers that the application or the platform has. Fine. So, this is an important metric. It is used to do analysis such as break-even analysis. Now let us also look at some of the metrics associated with mobile and social media networks. So we will discuss about mobile coupons, we will discuss about store visits, and we will also discuss about a metric called online to offline conversion. So by mobile coupons and payments, we need to understand that marketers should monitor mobile payments uses and mobile coupons used, and the mobile data can be relatively clean, relatively more reliable, because mobile phones are personal devices. So you can capture the actual behavior of the customer, actual behavior in the digital space about the customers from the mobile devices. But one thing you should be very sure that whenever you are capturing data regarding the user behavior in the digital platform through the mobile devices, you need to comply with the rules and regulations. You need to comply with the legal aspects associated with the land, legal aspects associated with the country. Next comes a concept called store visits. Store visits can be estimated using location based tracking on mobile phones, using the anonymous data, because you cannot get hold of any individualistic and personal data. No doubt you can definitely, if the law of the land permits, then you can have a statistical macro level data amalgamated in place for your business analysis, but getting individual data, breaching the privacy of the customers, breaching the privacy of the person, breaching the privacy of the user is not permitted in almost all the countries. So that is why whenever you are trying to measure a metrics that such as store visits that is happening due to the behavior in the digital space to the mobile devices, you need to look into the ethical aspect to a higher extent. Next concept that comes into picture is online to offline conversion formula. Many a times what we used to do, we used to surf the internet to gain more information regarding a particular product, particular brand that we intend to purchase. However, before purchasing there has to be a touch and feel situation for many customers. I am not comfortable purchasing something just on the e-commerce site. I need to have a touch and feel situation, right? So that is why I am purchasing from a physical store, but the decision regarding purchase from the physical store is being stimulated from the information that I gather in the mobile devices or in the social media. So now when you have to attribute this particular sale that is happening in a physical store, is there a mechanism through which we can trace back this sequence of events? So if we can trace it back, then we can actually accurately calculate the effectiveness of the promotional campaign, effectiveness of the cost that is being incurred due to expenditure in social media or advertisement in the mobile devices. So this can be understood with the dimension of online to offline conversion formula. Online to offline conversion is calculated as estimated store visits divided by the online actions. So basically we want to establish a bridge between the online activities and the offline actions. Fine. Now let us look at various metrics associated with the email. There is an emerging concept, there is a dominant concept called email marketing. So we need to understand various metrics associated with email marketing. So one of such metric is email open rate. So nowadays the marketers within the periphery of the legal framework of the land, they used to send emails to the prospects under the assumption that prospects will find it interesting, they will find more information from the email, explore the opportunities to purchase my brand or my product. So that is why, but in reality what happens, some of the a very low percentage of the prospects who have been delivered with the email, they will open the email. So that is why it is important to keep a track on what is the email open rate. Email metrics tend to measure the response of consumers to the email. Does the email actually lead to an action, or it just goes to the spam, it just goes to the archive, or it just goes to the category of unread email. So, one of the first action that can be expected out of an email is that email open action, and this particular action can be quantified, can be measured in terms of a metric called email open rate. As the terminology suggests, email open rate is nothing but number of emails opened divided by number of emails delivered. Remember that denominator is not the number of emails sent, it is the number of emails that is being delivered, or that is in the inbox of the prospects, right. So, all the sent email may not be delivered at the mailbox. So, we will only consider those emails which are being delivered to the prospects mailbox. Let us reiterate, email open rate equal to number of emails opened divided by number of emails being delivered. Then after the email opens, see, we are looking into this matrix associated with the email one by one as the sequential events. So, first thing that will happen is email delivery. After email delivery, there will be a email open, and after email open, there can be a click to an external site, and that particular activity can be measured in terms of a metric called click through rate. Concept wise, it is nothing but the percentage of email delivered that gets clicked on, or if we want to establish a formula for this particular metric, it is number of emails clicked, number of links which are clicked from the email content divided by number of emails delivered. Then another concept which is called email unsubscribe rate. I think all of you are aware about the fact the promotional emails that we get in our inbox, just below just at the bottom portion of your email, there is an option to unsubscribe the promotional campaigns from that particular organization, right. So, this is made compulsory in many of the countries that there should be a unsubscribe option given to the prospects, because otherwise it becomes a spam, it becomes annoying for the customers, right. So, the moment you can actually calculate the unsubscribe rate, then you can have an inference regarding whether you are actually sending the email to the interested set of customers, or you are also sending the emails to people who are not a part of your target segment. So, this can be calculated, this particular phenomenon can be conceived with this concept called email unsubscribe rate. The percentage of any list of email subscribers that opt out of the list in the given period of time. So, if I have to establish a formula to conceive this particular metric, then it is the request to be unsubscribed, the number of requests to be unsubscribed divided by total number of subscriber at the beginning of the year, fine. Next comes the metric called email bounce rate. Remember that there is something called, in most of the metric related to the email, we have used the number of emails delivered as the denominator, not the number of emails sent, because all the emails that you want to send is not delivered in the mailbox of the subscriber or the mailbox of the person. So, in that case, some of the emails, because they do not exist, they become outdated, some of the emails are not sent, and that is called bounce. An email which is sent but which is not delivered in the mailbox is called a email bounce. Basically, the emails bounce rate records the quality of your list rather than any action on the part of the recipient in respect of the email. An older, a poorer quality list is likely to have a higher bounce rate, as the percentage of recipients will have abandoned their own email addresses. So, basically a higher bounce rate reflects an outdated list of emails. A higher bounce rate interprets says you indirectly that you need to update your email list. By formula, email bounce rate is captured as the number of emails that is not delivered divided by the total number of emails being sent. Fine. Now, let us also look at some of the metric which addresses, which covers the cost aspect associated with the email marketing or email dimension. The first one is called the cost per engagement metric. So, as per the concept of CP is concerned, engagement must be defined based on the campaign goals. So, different campaigns will have different goals. Different campaigns will try to calculate different metrics. For example, there will be some campaign which is targeted for creating the awareness. So, in that case, impression can be one of the important metric, and there are, let us say, some campaigns which are intended for sale. Then in that case, conversion can be one of the most relevant metric associated with that particular campaign. Now, and that is how the engagement, the definition of engagement of different campaigns differ. So, in some of the campaigns the engagement can be just a sign up, in some of the campaigns the engagement can be just a like, just a click, in some of the campaigns the engagement is purchase. So, cost per engagement is calculated in terms of cost of the activity, the total cost of the activity either in dollar or Indian any currency, divided by the number of engagement. Fine. So, definition of engagement is dependent on the context. It can be just a like, it can be a comment, it can be let us say a purchase, it can be anything dependent on the context. So, one thing that we need to keep in mind is that there can be a big difference between emails sent and delivered, and even the delivered emails may be filtered away from the attention of the target consumer. There are many emails in my mailbox which are still categorized as an unread email. I mean thousands of emails, such emails are there. Now, let us quickly look at an illustrative example to understand the metrics associated with emails or email marketing. So, the scenario is a brand runs a 10-day campaign using the social post, a promo email and mobile coupon. All these three dimensions are there. So, we will look into the metrics associated with social media, we will look into the metrics associated with mobile, we will look into the metrics associated with the email. So, there are three inputs from these three dimensions. So, total cost associated with the social media is, let us say, 2 lakhs rupees, and new followers that is achieved after executing this campaign or during and after executing this campaign is 8,000, and likes that you have achieved in your page is 40,000, right. Now, let us come to the input of the email marketing. Total number of emails sent is, let us say, 1 lakh, and number of emails delivered is 95,000, resulting in a delivery rate of 95%. Then, out of this 95,000 emails that is being delivered in the inbox of the prospects, only 28,500 emails are being opened. Then, out of this 28,500 emails, 7,600 emails are being clicked to the external sites, and let us say out of this opened emails, there are 380 prospects, there are 380 persons who have opted for unsubscription, right. Now, let us come to the next component, that is the mobile coupon. So, we have distributed some numbers of mobile coupons, and total number of downloads of this mobile coupon is 12,000, and out of this 12,000 the estimated store visits, because the mobile coupons, let us say, can be only redeemed at the stores, the store visits is 3,000, fine. So, now let us try to calculate the metrics associated with this scenario which are relevant for our better insights. So, now let us start with this cost per follower. So, what is the total cost in social media? That is 2 lakhs, and what is the additional amount of followers that we have gained during and after execution of this particular campaign is 8,000. So, cost per follower becomes 2 lakhs divided by 8,000, that is 25 rupees per follower. Then next comes the cost per likes. So total cost is 2 lakhs rupees, and how many likes that we have achieved? It is 40,000 new likes. So that is why the cost per like from this particular campaign is 2 lakhs divided by 40,000, that is 5 rupees per like. Now let us move to the metrics associated with email marketing. The first metric that we will look into is the email open rate. So how did we define email open rate? It was number of emails opened divided by number of emails delivered. So in this particular scenario, number of emails opened is 28,500 and number of emails delivered is 95,000. So 28,500 divided by 95,000 gives me a value of 30%. Now the click-through rate, out of these emails opened, out of these people who have opened, out of this 28,500 people who have opened this email, only 7,600 users have clicked on the link given on the content of the email. So that is why the click-through rate will be number of clicks divided by number of deliveries. 7,600 divided by 95,000, which gives us a click-through rate of 8%. Now let us look at the bounce rate. As we have clearly said that, clearly mentioned that bounce rate reflects the quality of your database. Whether the database that you are using or trying to use is outdated or it is updated. So bounce rate is, out of this 1 lakh emails being sent, 95,000 emails are delivered. So 5,000 emails are being bounced back. So 5,000 divided by 1 lakh is my bounce rate, that is 5%. Online to offline conversion, if I look at this coupon scenario, I can see that total number of downloads was 12,000 and estimated store visit was 3,000. So that is why online to offline conversion is 3,000 divided by 12,000. So this conversion is 25%. Now what is the takeaway? Social shows cost efficiency, email shows response quality, and mobile shows whether online actions actually gets translated to an offline purchase or offline store visits. So if we can calculate this kind of a metric, then we can measure, we can internalize, we can visualize the effectiveness of that particular campaign or particular initiative. So if it is about the social media, we will look into the efficiency of cost. If it is about email marketing, we will look into the response quality. If it is about the mobile coupons or something related to mobile, it will give us a value of translation or transition from online actions to offline actions. Now let us quickly go through the ethical and compliance consideration in digital metrics. Remember that I can send an email if my server has the capacity. I can choose to send email to everyone in the population, right? So in that case, what is going to happen? The people will be getting the unwarranted emails, unanticipated emails. So it becomes frustrating, and in a way it becomes an intrusion to the privacy also, because I am getting access of the personal email of the people. So that is why there are a lot of ethical consideration that needs to be taken into consideration. So first thing that you need to get into consideration is that consent and permission. Email marketing often requires the consent. Somewhere you have to give the consent to the marketers. In lot of our digital activities nowadays, let's say we are signing up for a particular page, there will be a checkbox which says that I give my consent to get the promotional emails from this site. You can opt out from this checkbox. So in a way, if you submit your sign up button with this particular option being clicked, in a way the company has acquired your consent to send the emails, to send the promotional emails, right. So consent and permission are required in many countries, right? Respect user expectations, avoid misleading opt-ins, hidden unsubscribed processes and excessive frequency that hurts that trust. So if you keep sending the unnecessary emails, the receiver become frustrated. So that is why you should try to send only the relevant mails, so that the engagement rate is higher, click through rate is higher, open rate is higher. If you keep sending more and more emails, because it also involves the cost. So that is why, I mean, you should be very judicious whenever you are trying to send the promotional email. Data minimization. Collect only the data needed to run the program and measure the performance. Collection of unnecessary data becomes a burden at your part, as well as it raises a lot of issues regarding the ethics. Next comes the anonymization in the location data. Nowadays, many applications requires the, and I mean, you need to enable the GPS in order to run that application, right? So in that case, what happens? The moment you share your location, it becomes an issue of your privacy. So that is why, from an organization's perspective, from an application's perspective, an explicit consent has to be clearly seek from the user, right? And at the same time, though it can be used for improving the performance of the app or performing some of the activities, the anonymity has to be maintained properly, so that we are not using the individual level data, we are not using the, we are not breaching into the privacy of the person, rather we are using it at a macro level, at an amalgamated level. Then next comes the transparency. So you have to be clear about what is being tracked, especially for the mobile location and the app uses, right? Then security. Protect the customer's list and tracking data, because leaks create financial harm and reputational damage. So that is why, even if many of the applications are capturing or are taking your documents as an input, those are kept in an encrypted form in a, I mean, secure space in the digital world. So it is required, and whenever you will be engaged in, let's say, email marketing, social media marketing, so all these ethical and legal aspects will come into picture. You have to comply with the legal framework of the location where you are working. And remember that different locations, different countries may have different laws, right? Now let us quickly look at some of the practical pitfalls and quality checks. So first pitfall is sent is not delivered. We know that in our previous example only, we have seen that we have sent emails to 1 lakh potential users, but only 95,000 emails are being delivered. So that is why this percentage also gives us that sent is not delivered. Email bounce rate is least quality. If the bounce rate is more, then we can assume that the database is outdated. If the bounce rate is less, then in that case the database is updated. So it actually becomes an indicator of quality of your data. Then mobile attribution is complex. So it is extremely difficult to streamline the user behavior in the digital space and how it is being translated in an user behavior in the physical space, right? Mobile may not generate many on-device sales that can support sales through coupon downloads or store maps. So measurement must include the offline impact. The example that I have cited, I want to see the product, I want to gain information about the product from the digital spaces, from the website, from the e-commerce site, from other forums. But at the end of the day, I need to have a touch and feel settings, and I want to purchase it from that particular physical store, right? Now, my overall action, my overall purchase is being stimulated by the digital space, probably by a digital promotion, but my actual purchase is happening in a physical store. So mapping of this digital activities to these physical actions becomes an attribution level problem. Another aspect that we need to look into is that use short measurement windows. We know that mobile economics can move very quickly. So payback may need to occur in weeks, or there can be a churn within a very shorter period of time. So that is one of the practical pitfall of social media or mobile related matrix. Then define the engagement early. When using cost per engagement, define what counts as an engagement and ensure that tracking is reliable. So, for some of the campaigns, a like can be a engagement. For some other campaigns, what is more relevant engagement is a comment. For some other engagement, the most relevant engagement is just a purchase and nothing else. So, you have to define the engagement a priori and then you can calculate your relevant matrix. Fine. So, this is what it is for today. I will like to conclude this session with a sentence that effective digital measurement links channel activity to business outcomes using a small consistent set of clearly defined metrics. Thank you. I will see you in the next class.